If you're looking for a unique wine experience, check out Burned Out Winery. Founded by a team of siblings who turned their passion for winemaking into a thriving business. They focus on crafting exceptional small batch wines from Moscato to tart cherry and spiced apple to their delightful sangrias. There's something for everyone. Each bottle tells a story, complete with a creative name that reflects their journey. Their wines are not only fantastic, but they're also affordable, making them a great choice for any occasion. You can easily order online at burnedoutwinery.com or connect with them on Facebook. They deliver. Whether you're local or out of state, they'll ship right to your front door. Support this hardworking team and savor the taste of Burned Out Winery. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey. Discover the taste of freshness at Schoolhouse Farms. Join Vaughn Davis and Beth Cole, passionate bird watchers and friends from York County, Maine, as they transform their love for nature into a thriving business. Since 2016, they have been dedicated to growing and distributing premium sunflower kernels, oils, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom grain products like corn, flour, and grits. What do they offer? Birdseed suppliers, high quality black oil sunflower seeds for local markets, food retailers, a selection of sunflower oils, roasted kernels, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom cornmeal. Online shoppers enjoy gourmet popcorn and confection sunflower kernels from the comfort of your home. Floral markets, stunning sunflowers for Ohio-based florists. Distillers, specialty grains for brewing and distillation. Popcorn vendors, are you a kettle corn vendor? Talk to Vaughn or Beth about supplying your business with the lowest cost, high quality mushroom popcorn in the industry. Taste the difference. Customers can shop for delicious sunflower kernels, popcorn, flavored oils, and heirloom cornmeal and grits directly on their website or at selected retail stores and farmers markets across Ohio, Indiana, Maine, and New Hampshire. Their name pays tribute to the historic Freysinger School, built in 1862 on Davis Farms property. This one-room schoolhouse has a rich history, having served the community until 1939. Are you ready to connect? If there's an exciting opportunity to discuss, they would love to hear from you. Follow Schoolhouse Farms on Facebook today and become part of the community. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey.
Oh, wow.
Are we good, guys?
Yeah.
Are we sure? Check 1 2, check 1 2, check. All right, guys. Hopefully you can hear us. Hit the sound pad for the intro. Let's just make sure we're good. Just the top left-hand corner. Yeah. Hit it again, buddy. All right, guys. Let us know if you can hear us. I know we're having a little sound difficulties, but welcome back to American Whiskey Sip and Solve. We're glad you're here. We're going to be diving into the case of Brian Shaffer, just to a local town by us, Columbus, Ohio. Dylan, we've been talking about this one. We're glad you guys are here. We're ready to sit. We're ready to solve. We're ready to sip and solve. And guys, we do have a little special guest tonight. We have our buddy Levi here.
We have Little Nut. We have Little Nut.
The Little Nut. We've got Little Nut. So grab a beer, grab a drink, grab whatever it is you sip on. Sit back, relax. Don't forget to check your doors. Make sure they're locked. And let's just have a little conversation tonight about some creepy shit.
What's up, Little Nut?
I'm Big Sturge.
I'm Justice League.
Not Little Nut, I guess.
Yeah. The Little Nut. All right, guys. Hopefully you can hear us just all loud and clear. We've got a lot going on in the studio, so you never know when it's going to be good, when it's going to be bad. But welcome back to American Whiskey, this podcast where we sip on our favorite spirits and we dive in some of the most intriguing mysteries across the nation. And I'm your host, Big Sturge. And this week, we're going to sip and solve as we do every Friday.
Hey, Sturge.
Yeah.
I know we call it sip and solve, but half the time we're so intrigued into the case, we forget to say what we're sipping on.
Well, I'm sipping on a Michelob Ultra. I'm going to actually I'm going to cheat a little bit and have a twisted tea tonight. I haven't had it yet. What do you have, boss?
Well, I'm not going to do whiskey tonight since I have to be at work in the morning, but I'm going to drink some Busch lattes and some Burnout Winery.
Burnout Winery. And I just heard them boys and girls a song. I'm thinking about posting it. I don't know if I should. I'm thinking about it.
Send it to them, see what they say.
Levi's drinking water out of a red Solo cup.
High quality H2O.
H2O.
That's some high quality H2O.
So, guys, we're going to be tackling a very perplexing case, the disappearance of Brian Shaffer, a case that, really has puzzled not just investigators. I mean, this thing has really just captured the public's imagination for nearly 2 decades now. I think, can you check just make sure everything sounds good on there?
Yeah.
But guys, so
Jason Davis and Gordon said we sound good.
That you guys can hear us well now. I just want to make sure you can hear Dylan and them real good too. But guys, I want you to pour yourself a drink tonight. I want you to sit back. I want you to settle in, and let's unravel the details of this chilling mystery together. Brian David Shaffer was born February 25th, 1979 in Pickerton, Ohio, which isn't too far from here. Growing up, he was known as a really bright, ambitious young man. He was really, academic-wise, it was really impressive. He graduated high school with honors and earned a degree in microbiology from the Ohio State University, OH.
I.O.
Brian was,
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Fuck
Brian
you,
was
Levi.
not
Fuck
just a student. I mean, he was a really well-rounded individual who loved life. He had a passion for music and often attending a lot of concerts and enjoying the local nightlife with friends because Columbus has a lot of nightlife to offer. We're talking about the Ohio State University. There's the short north. There's a lot of great things to do there and a lot of good friends to do it with. And he was known for his infectious smile, his outgoing personality, and making him a beloved, figure among the people that he hung out with.
I was busy reading Gordon's comment there, and that's something we're going to hit on, Gordon.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Gordon said this bar had a big footprint, but one entrance, a total college bar.
Absolutely. Been there multiple times.
So in his personal life, Brian was in a committed relationship with Alexis, a fellow student. The two shared dreams for the future, discussing plans and aspirations. Friends noted that Brian was deeply invested in his relationship, often talking about how much he cared for Alexis. As his medical school background progressed, Brian faced the typical pressures of academia. But those who knew him insisted he was handling it well. He was looking forward to his future as a physician, and there was no indication that anything was amiss.
Let's dive into the night of April 1st, 2006. Let's set the stage a bit. It's a Saturday night on the Ohio State University campus.
Back in 2008, that had to be a busy
2006,
2006.
Yeah, and it's a good time there. It's always a good time every Saturday. I mean, I'm 34 years old and still would have a great time there on a Saturday night. And Brian had decided to go out with some friends, celebrate the weekend, as a lot of young college people do. They started their night at a bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular spot located in the Short North Arts District of Columbus, Ohio. I've been there many of times. When I covered the case, when I did a podcast called Reviewing Report, we went there. We actually talked and sat down with the previous manager of that time, and just hitting what Gordon said. There is one entrance, but I'll never forget sitting down with her and just seeing the, what it was like in her eyes to relive that moment. I'll never forget one thing about the Ugly Tuna. My friend Justin Marlin and I went there right before Christmas break, and they were doing dollar shot night. So I called him up. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm busy. Not too busy for dollar shots. Am I wrong? And he's like, let's go. So he drove us up there. And I don't remember much of that night, but it was dollar shot night. I think I bought the whole bar shots that night. But guys, the Ugly Tuna Saloon was known for its vibrant atmosphere, the live music, great live music, local crowds. And it was a really lively crowd of just good old college students. And it was kind of a place where people, they'd laugh, they'd have a good time. The music filled in the air. The drinks flowed freely. You guys know what it's like. Dylan, you lived in New Orleans. You know what the nightlife, man. It was just a good, flowed freely. But Brian, he arrived at the bar around 10 p.m. just full of energy and excitement. And as the night goes on, Brian and his friends enjoyed drinks. They had a great time. They mingled with other patrons. Witnesses actually later reported that he was just really high in spirits, right? He was laughing, he was joking, and with everyone around him. He may not have knew him that night, but people go back and they start interviewing, the cops start interviewing people that met him that night. They're like, dude, he's super nice, just having a good time. However, as the clock strikes 2 a.m., the bar begins to close. And Brian's friends decide it was time to leave. They made plans, to meet up later, but Brian chose to stay a little bit behind, telling him that he was going to catch up with him here shortly. This decision would later haunt his friends and family in the days to come. Now, surveillance footage captures Brian entering the bar, but the mystery deepens. There is zero footage of Brian Shaffer leaving the bar. The bar had multiple exits, but nowhere, none of the cameras saw him. Nothing captured him at any of them. And it's kind of strange, it's a strange occurrence, and it really raises a lot of numerous questions. Did he leave through an unmonitored exit? Did something happen to him inside of the bar?
Well, so the next day, when Brian failed to return home, concern grew among his friends and family. They reported him missing, and law enforcement quickly jumped into action, which is awesome to hear that, because how many cases do we see where they say, oh, just give it a few days,
24 hours, 48 hours, yeah.
The investigation began with interviews of Brian's friends, family, and bar staff. Police reviewed the surveillance footage multiple times, searching for any clue that could lead them to Brian. They also reached out to the public for assistance and organized search parties to comb through the area around the bar, including parks and the Scioto River.
Now, anybody that knows the side of the river, it goes right through there, right through the downtown Columbus. So if you were trying to get rid of a body, that'd be somewhere to do it. But despite the extensive searches, no significant leads emerge. The community rallies around Shaffer and his family. This, hanging out flyers to holding vigils. Brian's family made a heartfelt public appearance urging anybody out there with information to come forward. Now, as time passes, the lack of evidence began to weigh heavily on anyone that was involved. The case garnered media attention right away, and it just kind of takes off from there. And Brian's story spreads across news outlets, drawing curious out, the onlookers from, the web sleuths is what I call it.
Yeah.
It was really big on for those kind of, we're web sleuths. This is what we're doing tonight, right? But with, any unsolved case, numerous theories, speculations emerged about what happened to Brian. And this is an interesting, thing. What happened to Brian that night? Let's explore some of the most, active theories that, that we've talked about. We've went and looked.
So, Sturge, you and I talked about this when we went and got a drink earlier today. The first one is accidental death. This is the one that I really ruled out myself just based on facts that the police have put out there. But one of the theories suggests that Brian may have accidentally fallen into the nearby river or sustained an injury that led to his death. The area around the bar is known to be busy, and it's possible he could have wandered off. However, extensive searches of the river and surrounding areas yielded no evidence. And the reason why I told Sturge that I did not think that was true is because one of the lead detectives messed up and released that they had multiple pings of Brian's cell phone days after they had already searched the rivers.
Mm-hmm. Now, Levi, I'm curious. You were kind of talking about foul play earlier. Kind of explain what you're going. What was your thought with that?
So another theory that exists is that Brian may have been a victim of foul play. The fact that he didn't leave the bar in a monitored area raises suspicions. I mean, I would guess you would enter through the front. Yeah, I would expect that you would leave through the front.
Yeah,
but that's just, assuming. Some speculate that he could have encountered someone inside the bar who meant to harm him, but I feel like it would have been de-escalated, or there's bouncers at bars and all that other stuff. Somebody would have seen something.
And Gordon Shireman, he ain't lying. I mean, there's a lot of people out and about there. It's it's not going to get out of hand.
Well, yeah. Levi, there is some reports that him and his friend that were there did get into an altercation inside the bar.
Maybe something could have happened after, but that still doesn't.
But there was no credible evidence of any of that.
Right. It's just speculation.
Now there is a thing that's called voluntary disappearance. It's not against the law. It's not against the law to take off and tell nobody. Okay, it's a voluntary disappearance, and a lot of people believe that Brian intentionally chose to disappear, possibly overwhelmed by the pressure of life and school. And if I remember correctly, Brian's mom had just passed away, and he was going through a lot of shit. And this theory particularly is controversial because as friends and family insist that the behavior was out of character for him, they pointed out that Brian had plans for his future and had a loving relationship with a woman, and making it hard to believe that he simply would walk away from it all. But it's not unheard of that a lot of people bottle things up, and and they don't want you to know.
Well, Sturge, what's crazy about that is we've talked about the Women Project and everything like that. And one thing we have always brought up is voluntary disappearance isn't illegal. Neither is faking your own death.
Right.
It's not illegal.
Right.
Another theory is accidental overdose. Another chilling theory is that Brian may have accidentally overdosed on drugs or alcohol that night. In the chaos of a bar, it's conceivable that he could have succumbed to an overdose, leading to a cover-up or panic among those around him. This theory, while speculative, has been discussed among true crime enthusiasts.
Yeah. Some suggest that Brian may have left to an unmonitored exit, either to meet someone or because he was in an altered state. Also brings up, could have been on drugs. You never know. This raises questions about the bar security and how many exits there were.
Now, I do want to add, there was at one point, I believe, a little bit of a confrontation outside of the bar when he was smoking a cigarette. He was he was with a woman. He not there at the bar, but he was dating a woman.
Right.
And it sounded like maybe he was hitting on a couple girls outside of that bar that night, and possibly that had something to do with it. But again, he was never seen coming out of that bar. Other than, I mean, he went outside, was smacking on some girls, went back inside to have some drinks, but was never seen again leaving that bar. And a lot of people think, like, if it was a drug overdose, would the staff, there was a band playing that night, and there's even speculations like, did they shove the body into an instrument bag and get him out of there? Did they shove him up top somewhere? Because they were scared to call the cops and get in trouble for selling alcohol to underage kids.
Right.
And, there's a lot of things that can happen when the police get involved at a college bar.
And the foul play, where I brought up that there are rumors that there was an altercation between him and his friend. Quickly after that, it came out from what I researched that they found on video of where they parked their vehicle, and the friend he supposedly got into an altercation with and the girl he was there with, when they got to the vehicle and realized he wasn't there, they walked back and were looking for him.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but if I've been drinking all night and it's 2 a.m. and I'm inebriated, I'm not going to think twice about, oh shit, I need to go back and look if I did something wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here.
And each theory has its supporters, the skeptics, but adding to the overall mystery of Brian's disappearance, and the disappearance of Brian Shaffer has had a profound impact on his community and beyond. I mean, we're talking not just nationwide, I mean, worldwide. This case is well known. Although you may have not heard of it, it is for Web Sleuths, it's a big case. And his case has raised awareness about missing persons, prompting discussions about how families and communities can better support those who are missing. And, over the years, Brian's story has been featured on various media outlets, true crime shows, and podcasts, just like this, keeping his memory alive. Now, his case serves... Maybe I thought you were coming over, Shaffer. But his case serves as a reminder of the importance of being vigilant and the awareness in our communities. Now, the case has led to calls for better protocols, right? And the missing person investigations emphasizing they need for more searches and community involvement. Now, as we wrap up today's, episode of Sip and Solve, the mystery of Brian Shaffer's remains open. The case has never been solved. A haunting reminder of the unknown. If you have any information about Brian's disappearance or know someone who does, please reach out to the authorities. And listen, somebody knows something.
Agreed.
There's never, I'm telling you, the hand of God, right? There's no fucking way that something like this happens and nobody knows something. Somebody knows something. Now, there's things that they were talking about, like there was, other exits at the bar because there was constructions behind it. But with that being said, there was actually cameras that faced those exits, and he was never even seen going over that direction. I think, cases like this are very solvable. But again, maybe somebody's scared to come forward. Now, of course, we can go and speculate all we want, but there's a piece of shit out there somewhere that knows something.
I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily say a piece of shit.
I would.
Because what if it's that situation where he just had enough and he wanted to take off?
No, I'm saying
and he voluntarily just left.
He didn't voluntarily leave.
I don't think so.
We don't know.
He didn't. Okay, then where the fuck did he leave? He never left the bar. That kid was taken out of that bar without anyone seeing him. That boy was murdered. That kid was murdered.
Or also, like Dylan did bring up, an overdose. And they didn't want to bring down their bar's popularity.
Again, somebody knows something.
Yeah, Levi, I disagree with that theory.
I don't.
Just because if someone overdoses, there's going to be multiple people that see that.
Let me ask you a question.
Maybe they just thought he was really drunk.
You don't think there's ever been overdoses at bars that have been covered up and never solved?
Oh, I think there are.
This could be
but
one of them.
Even if someone's drunk and passed out, someone would have came forward and said, hey, there was a guy
Gordon,
that got dragged out of here drunk and passed out.
Gordon Shinerman, I love that you know this case, but if you go back and do the research, there was actually construction behind that bar and there was an exit behind the bar. But there is camera footage, not of the exact exit, but of the hallway going to that exit. So if he would have went that way, they would have caught it on footage. Now, even if you would have changed your clothes, I think authorities could look at that camera and be like, that's probably Brian.
Yeah, like if he went in, say, just for instance, without a sweatshirt on, and then around the time that they couldn't find him anymore, a guy walks out with a hood on his head around the same height, they're going to speculate that was him.
Now, I do have a theory.
Hit it.
So around this time, there was a serial killer.
Oh, I knew we were going there.
And you guys know me, I'm a serial killer fanatic. And his name, or their name, was the Smiley Face Killer. A lot of young men went and disappeared around this time in Columbus, and actually are disappearing to this day. That we were just talking about Tyler Davis, which we will cover that case. He went disappearing just right around the same area. And so what I think could have happened, maybe somehow or another they get him out of the bar. I don't know.
I mean,
he gets hammered drunk. Somehow or another he gets out of the bar. I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that he could disappear out of the kitchen. Somewhere he gets out. Let's just say they weren't able to pick him up.
I mean, like we brought up, Sturge, with that Smiley Face Killer, a lot of it was around bar areas.
It was.
And he'd never been detected before, so obviously he knew what he was doing.
And so I think it's a high possibility that he was walking around Short North area 3 a.m, and somebody offered to give him a ride, and he was just never. And Gordon, he could have swapped clothes, and he truly could have. I find that hard to believe.
But because he crazier.
But here's the thing: he never walked in with other clothes. So what did he do? Stash clothes there at another time?
Clothes with somebody,
is it really
cross-dresser?
It's not that fucking hard. Like, listen, anywhere in a restaurant, they have to have an exit in the kitchen. Yep. They have to have more than one exit.
For
now,
emergencies.
Is Ugly Tuna going to come forward and say, "Hey, look, we had a camera here and it wasn't on"? Are they going to come forward and say we fucked up? Let's just say he gets out of the bar. He's stumbling around. He's supposed to meet his friends. Look up the Smiley Face Killer. This is no fucking joke. Like he was a real thing. And to be honest, they don't think that he was ever captured. But the situation with the girls outside of Ugly Tuna, did you guys read anything about that? Remember, he was outside of the bar trying to kind of flirt with some girls.
So I did read one report. Obviously, you can't take everything you read online for granted, but it kind of plays into that, because one report I read was talking about how he had talked to multiple girls outside the bar, and he actually made plans to meet up with a couple people that he met there later on.
Right.
And that's where it came into play that him and his friend had gotten to an argument, and he wanted to leave his friend and go hang out with these people he just met.
Right. Right.
So it was rumored that he slipped off and went out the back exit at that point, and that's the last time anyone saw him.
And you know, I think that's what did Gordon just say? The short north is still a half mile south and a long walk from Tuna through a rough neighborhood. Yeah, I mean, it's technically in the short north. The ugly Tuna is in the short north. But as a college kid, mile and a half ain't shit.
No.
Especially when you've been drinking all night.
Right. I mean,
You can ask Sturge. When we were in Green Bay and I was drunk, I was hiking like a champ.
we was, man. we went through the snow and the cold, man. And, you know, I was really upset.
I was wearing
about it.
Hey Dudes in like 5-degree weather.
No, you was wearing boots, I thought.
I was wearing Hey Dudes.
Well, you took boots. You didn't wear them.
I didn't wear them.
Cocksucker. But no, guys, this is a case that's, you know, been very interesting and intriguing. Not a lot on it. But I think it's a solvable case. I think if you know, somebody out there grabs the balls, gets a pair of balls, and they're willing to come out and share what they know, this is a solvable case. What up, Freddie?
And Serge, you brought it up earlier. It's a very similar circumstance. There's a few differences, but Tyler Davis of Washington Courthouse.
I know.
Same thing, Columbus.
Suburb of Columbus.
And just
Maybe
disappeared.
Maybe we're gonna cover that case next week too, because there's a lot of young men that have went missing
in Columbus,
Ohio.
And what I have found on a lot of them is they've had pings on their cell phones afterwards, but they don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. And I actually reached out to his wife when I was doing the reviewing report, and I let you read the messages.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not going to comment too much on it, but there's something there that's just a little off. And you know what? We're gonna cover the case of Tyler Davis next week. Maybe this is a case we can really dive into and try to see if we can't figure something out. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in here on our Sip and Solve Friday. It's always a good time. Peanut couldn't be here. But his son Levi, you know, had a couple lines in the night, so we appreciate it, Levi. But guys, most importantly, we want to thank you for tuning in when you guys do every Tuesday and Friday. It's amazing. We love you guys, and don't forget to check out Burned Out Winery. We're going to be at the 2nd Street Market tomorrow. Myself, Levi, and I think Dougie's coming.
Everyone check that out. I'm jealous as hell I can't be there because I have to work tomorrow, but support these guys. I know I'm going to tune in when I can and definitely give them a shout out on the share.
All right, guys, as always, I'm Big Sturge.
I'm Justice League.
And I'm Little Nut.
Little Nut, and we are
American Whiskey.
All right,
Sip and
guys,
solve.
I need you to
Yeah. Dylan, get it.